Oh, alright guys, I've gotten in a little bit of trouble from a couple of my homies who have been complaining about the fact that I uploaded a guide on how to beat Reptile before I even helped all of my Zaterran brothers and sisters learn how to work with him and secure some victories in the first place. So we're gonna flip the script today. Instead of 8 minutes on how to beat Reptile, we're gonna talk more in depth about how to win if you want to use the character. I'm gonna try to keep it to 20 to 25 if I cannot ramble for so long. I tend to do that. It's part of a long series of videos I'm gonna be uploading. I just came back from a little trip to Italy, so in my absence, there's been a bit of a gap in my uploading schedule, but we're back spinning the YouTube wheel again. How to win with Reptile, more online matches, how to win with Tanya Goro, how to beat Smoke. Just a couple of videos that are on the list of stuff coming out. If you guys are interested in seeing those, follow the channel, check out some of the other vids. If you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments below. If I say anything wrong, let me know in the comments down below. But let's talk about how to win with Reptile. Now, that's one thing I've noticed, which is a lot of players who have been saying, man, once Reptile comes out in Mortal Kombat 1, I can't wait to main him again. And then out of nowhere, the character comes out and nobody wants to play him. Why is that? Well, he's different, right? He still has his back 2. Snappy little overhead. There's his back 3. Snappy little low. But he is not the pressure mixed character that he used to be in games like Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X, where you just get up to opponents and you start going into mix, and every time they guess wrong, you do combos. He is now a distance management with punishment, neutral controlling character that is more built around being a hybrid all-rounder conditioning kind of playstyle instead of just relentless mix and being, you know, Flash, essentially Mortal Kombat's version of the Flash now. He is just now a full, fundamentally strong and solid character. I don't think he's bad. If you say Reptile's bad, I think you're actually smoking substances, but I do think he's very solid. Around A tier, if you were to ask me. Reasons being, tools like this. His back 3 is going to be one of his best whip punishing tools. His forward 3 is a solid whip punishing tool. His forward 2 is a solid whip punishing tool. And if I'm not mistaken, his most optimal starting normal to start off with. He's got a 7-frame stand. There's a bunch of normals we have to cover. This stand 3 that goes so far, this back 3 that goes so far. We'll talk about all of their uses and how they contribute to his overall game plan. And then afterwards, his special moves. And then after that, how he pairs with some cameos, and then I'll drop a combo guide on him hopefully by next week, the latest, but we'll see based on the schedule. Okay, back 3. If you're fighting Reptile, you see this button a lot. If you're playing Reptile, you should be using this button a lot. It does not hit from here, right? This is default match start. It hits from a half step farther and leads into damage that looks like this. It's not even optimal. That's 32% meterless damage, right? One of his other great caveats of his toolkit is his resource management. You don't have to spend meter on a lot of things that you don't need to spend meter on. That's how much damage you get off of the threat of this back 3. It is a shimmy tool. Walk away from somebody, they press something, back 3. Walk up to somebody, they press something, back 3. If they do anything punishable, that is more punishable than hold on, turn that on. That's minus 22. Cool. Now watch this. There's a lot of moves in the game that you can punish with back 3. But even though you can, sometimes you should still punish with forward 2 because it's more optimal. It's a habit I'm trying to fix. Back 3 is the God button. Ideally, if you punish with that, it's still fine. But if you can punish with forward 2, 3, it's better. So just keep that in mind. Back 3 is also going to be the main way you lead into your pressure in a lot of situations. Back 3 itself is minus 6. Back 3-1 is minus 7. Back 3-1-3 is where you want to stop the shenanigans. This is minus 23. But back 3-1-3 is also special cancelable, so you can cover that. The whole mind game here is that there are, even though all of these normals are safe for the most part, there are gaps in between them. So if I was to set him again to reversal mode, you'll see here he gets full punish. And I cover this on my How to Beat Reptile guide. If you want more information on that, feel free to check that out there, or a more in-depth description of these gaps. I'm going to be very, very short with it here for the sake of brevity. Check that guide out, but I cannot stop him here. I'm doing back 3-1 and I'm holding block and I can't do anything. Okay. If I was to whiff the back 3 but still hit the 1-3, same thing happens. If I was to special cancel and try to pressure, same thing happens. There's gaps in almost the entirety of this pressure string. So what do, right? If there's such a weakness to it, you just stop. You just stop and then punish your opponent for doing that. Right? There's soul minus, that something as slow as the back 3 gets you the guaranteed punish. If your muscle memory is still in tune to that, that's fine. You're still getting 32% for that. Ideally, do that route instead. That's 35. That's also, again, 35. No bar. And that combo could, if I was to set my health to be something more like this. Hold on, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Actually, wrong route. Sorry. Oh my god, I'm mad. Sorry. It didn't do... There's no shot it didn't do it. Hold on. Then I do the right route and I'm not ready. Oh my god, now I can't do it. We can cancel into Fatal Blow. And we'll just see how much this does for him making a big boy mistake like that. How hard is this gonna hurt? 42%, and that's without me even playing the little mini game with smacking X the whole time, or smacking through whatever console you're on. So that is the caveat of them trying to get themselves out of any situation by doing that reversal. They get smoked for it. Now, if they're not doing the reversal, you essentially just get to pressure them for free as long as you don't stop here. This is the worst place to stop because you are dead. The mind game is that this move is special cancelable. So you can cancel it into other things, which is mostly going to be back forward 2. The reason I'm showing it this way is because if you don't amplify it, you still die, right? Even if you do amplify it, we saw that gap before, but if they do not stop at that gap, you are -5. They can flawless block this and turn it into -10. And -10 is punishable. So you are never out of jail for free. See, if he flawless blocks that, that's full punish. I think Sub-Zero does 1-2 or 2-1 and gets full combo punish for it. So be mindful of that. Most people that you fight will not be doing any of that. So there's less to be concerned about. If -16 is too slow and forward 2 is too slow because it's more opti, you start to descend down the path of what can I punish with. So 16 frame punish in back 3, 12 frame punish in forward 2. You're gonna have a 9 frame punish in 2-3, which will lead to exact same routes as the forward 2 string. I'll show you real quick. We do forward 2-3, right? That's optimal, but 2-3, same thing and a little faster. 9 frames of startup instead of 12. You want to do forward 2-4 for a 24 frames of hit advantage on knockdown. You can do 2-4 and it's a 9 frames and you get 24 frames of advantage on knockdown. The only difference is that with forward 2, you can do forward 2-1-1, and with stand 2, you cannot do that. There is no stand 2 extension into that. But in most cases, your 9 frame punish here. Sorry, I'm horrible. Still get 32%, so it's 2% less than doing it off of the 12 framer. And if they can get punished with 9 frames, by all means, please. Any shorter than that, 1-1. If you're ever not sure if how punishable something is, if it's punishable enough and they're right in your face, 1-1 smokes it every time. If you could interrupt something, you're going to interrupt it with 1-1. We're talking outside of the use of cameos. 7 frames of startup and the bread and butter off of this. 29% damage into knockdown, into 21 frames of hit advantage, into whatever you want. Cover it with a cameo, nomad dash your way back in, however you want to close that gap when you do that. Now, forward 3, great tool. Would also look like a whiff punishing tool. You get forward 3-1-1. You get forward 3-2. Those are going to be your main 2. I don't think you get anything else, right? Forward 3-2 is great because it's special cancelable. It is death on block. So you do not do this if they're blocking. Let's take off flawless so we can see actual frame data instead of Ninja Killer frame data. 4-3-2 is -13. You die for that. Do not do that. If you are hit confirming, great. If you are not hit confirming, relax. You should die every time you do that. Forward 3-1-1, you're generally safe. -7 and pushback. Almost nobody's doing anything. I'm sure you can interrupt it with cameos and whatnot, but for the most part, again, this is generally fine. And if it does hit, it launches very far, and you can get pickups with cameos. If they're in the corner, it's even better, but you're going to need a cameo to be able to pick up off of that, or you're going to have to cut it short on 4-3-1, which is what you're going to do most of the time, and then go into whatever you want to go into. Where am I? Forward 3's better application is going to be its utility as an anti-air. So I'm going to set Sub-Zero to jump here, turn that recording on, and snipe him out of the sky. This is a distance-based anti-air, meaning if you're too close, it doesn't hit, right? But if you're any farther, if they overextend that distance, you get pickup. If you get pickup... Sorry, I did the wrong route for a second. Confusing my routes. That is 30% for an anti-air. If that route is a little too difficult, that is 28% for an anti-air. If that route is too difficult, that is... Hold on. Does more than that. Oh, this is why it's distance-based. You should get both hits. It is 21% for an anti-air if that is too difficult. It is 17% with some corner carry. You can... Reptile has a great anti-air game. And if you feel like cashing out... Sorry. Oh my god. Oh my god. We'll do it into this, and this also, like his other route that we did before into Fatal Blow, will lead into about 42%. I'm going to let the animation rock, but I'm pretty sure it's going to do about 42, 43. Again, I'm not pressing the buttons to give it extra damage. If you guys didn't know that was a thing, that's... Oh, 44. Even better. Even better. So they can't jump on you. If they jump on you, they die. If you cannot... Actually, I'm going to set them to jump on me again for a second. If you don't have the reaction time to do your forward 3, you can do your stand 1. Your stand 1 can lead into basically all of the same stuff. Sorry, I'm not ready for half of this. 28%. Babies first. Fatal Blow. We've gone over this. I'm going to try to reset it before he does that. And if they jump on you in the corner, which is one of my favorite ones, you can even... you can get side switch with Reptile pretty easy. You don't need anti-air for that. I don't have to waste your time going over doing it with anti-air. I'll do that in the combo video with Reptile that I'll post by next week. His sweep is also incredible. Oh, you can also anti-air with stand 4 if you want. That's your other good one. This can get you into some good routes too. You do a little bit of this. Hold on. So stand 4 has his applications too. So those are the main 3. Forward 3 at distance. If they're any closer, stand 4 or stand 1 will get you out of jail for free. Now your sweep I want to talk about, the range on this is very similar to the range on your back 3. It's incredibly good for that. It's a great pestering tool. And if they block it, it's only -6. It's only -6. -7. Maybe at distance is -6. -5. So at most ranges it'll be... We'll say -6 as a happy medium, but -7, -5 at whatever tip range we just found that it was -5 at. What was that? Yeah, at tip range -5. But for the most part, -7. You're not going to get punished for doing that. If it hits them, great. If it gets blocked, great. And some situations you can get punished if they time a jump, if they whiff punish you, if they're a reptile and they also do back 3. For the most part, you'll get out of jail for free with this. And 85% of the time, you won't get punished for it. Again, you're going to base that on how good or bad your opponent is, whether or not you should be doing that. As far as his jumping normals, right? He has a 1-2. You're never going to use it. You're only ever going to use 2-3-3. 2-3-3 gives you so much, right? It gives you combo extension to cash out for damage into your down back 4. If you cut it short and you just stop at the 2-3-3, you're right in their face to pressure again. If they're in the corner, and this, I will say, I've seen people do this. I know this is possible. I don't even think you have to do it half the time. You can pick it up. You can pick it up and do fun stuff like that. But a lot of the times, it generally doesn't seem worth the effort to go for that route compared to other routes that I've seen. Here we are. Okay. If you have cameos, jump 2-3-3. Leaves you, I believe, plus 37. So you get all the time in the world to set up whatever you want off of that. And we'll talk about its applications at the tail end of the video when we start talking about Reptile and his synergy with some cameos. Going into his... Oh, forward 3-2, we also didn't talk about it. It's that on block. There's only certain things you can special cancel out of this, and one of them is cameo dependent, which is why, thankfully, it just came back to mind. Okay, you can cancel this into Death Roll, which we're going to talk about in a bit, how good Death Roll is. I think it's a top 5 special move in the game. You can cancel this into Acid Spit. You should never do that. You should never do this. You can spend a bar, and that's what you get. Does that feel like it's worth meter to you? I don't know if I would spend sticks of butter on that. You can cancel it into Fatal, as we showed before. And you can also cancel it into Invisibility. It's one of the best ways to go into Invisibility if you want to use it. One of my favorite parts is how stupid Reptile's face looks when his jaw takes 8 hours to close like he's the Terminator. Like, you actually watch it rehinge itself. He just goes... Oh, it's the weirdest. Watch this with me. Oh, like what is he doing? You know, so, but it's one of your best ways to get into invisibility. But it is cameo dependent on how well you'll be able to cover that, and I'll go over some of the cameos later that give him the best access to it. So going into his special moves again, acid spit is generally useless. 9% if it hits for a bar, and so if the difference matters, you can do that if you need to really cut it short. But you would have to be so godlike to be able to do that math to find when the utility of acid spit is worth the effort. I would like, now you see how this leaves a puddle on the floor. What I would love, NRS, is if this puddle on the floor did dot damage. If I used it at a even if I had to do it like this and just get him to stand in the goop, if that goop did something, like burned him a little bit, I would find it useful. But since it doesn't do that, you're almost never going to use it over your acid bubbles, right? Now these are way better, your force balls. You have 3 different speeds, and you get different juggle properties, and this is how you get your meterless combo extension. So I'll cover the combo extension first because I feel like at a base level, that's what most people will be interested about. Then I'll talk about zoning and different utilities. You don't have to spend bar with Reptile because he has different speeds of acid bubble, and if you use them in combos, they will give extra juggle properties where they shouldn't. So to explain it more simply, right? We have a slow version by doing down forward 3 and then back. We have a medium version by doing down forward 3, and a far version by doing down forward 3 and holding forward. You see the far version, there's a distance where the bubble kind of like pops in their face and doesn't hurt them. It's very specific to like set up. I'm trying to find like the distance where it does that. It just did it a half second ago. Let me go full screen. See, so you can get that, but that doesn't really matter. Ideally, it doesn't go full screen. If you want it to go full screen, you have to spend a bar on it, and I never think that's worth it unless it's going to win you the game. If they can't block anything, doing something like this... Why? Okay, I can't get my bar. Hold on. Doing something like this and forcing them to deal with all of this can be annoying if they can't hold all of that chip damage. So it's great for that, but for combo extension, even though you could very much know what's going to hit and get in and get conversions, I don't think that's the way you'd want to spend bubble. Anyway, I'm going to do 2 similar speeds of bubble. We're going to start by doing 2 fast bubbles, right? I'm going to do back 3-1 into fast bubble, stand 4 into fast bubble, and it knocks them away. This is how it would work for most other characters in the game. But if I adjust the speed now by doing back 3-1 fast bubble and to stand 4 regular bubble, you see he gets launched again, and this is how we get our combo extensions. Meterless damage with Reptile. I'm going to do it the other way now. I'm going to do back 3-1 regular bubble, stand 4 fast bubble, and the same thing. Works like a charm every time. Amplifying will also count as a different launch property. You get bigger speeds off of it, but I will save that for the combo video that I will drop next week for Reptile. The other great utility of amplifying your acid balls, I only think is worth it if you amplify, the slow version, because you get to walk inside of it, and it's very scary for people. You get conversions if they get hit, if they don't get hit, and they feel like blocking everything because they're worried about it, which is fine. It's a generally good strategy to do, right? You get to pester them, force people to hold things, keep pressuring. You look how much chip damage I did because I got him scared of holding sequences. He basically took a throw for holding all of that. And it will trade with things, weirdly. This is one of the reasons I picked Sub-Zero for this example. You'll see right here, I can get it to go through his projectile, and there's a second layer to it, but sometimes it trades this way. But it has weird properties like this. So now I'm gonna get Sub-Zero to stop real quick, and if you look at, I'm gonna amplify the slow version slowly so you can look at it. There is a smaller bubble inside of the bigger one. There's 2 layers to it. So in a situation like this, what is happening is that Sub-Zero's back forward 2 here is trading with the first layer, knocking it off. He's then getting hit by the second one, and I'm getting conversions off of that. You want to lab how it trades with different projectiles. If you do this with somebody like Baraka stuff goes straight through. But if you're dealing with zoning, you have an even better option, which is your, I call it Gator Roll. It's officially called Death Roll. Your Death Roll. Look how, I'm going to amplify this and let's see how far it goes. Why? Full screen and it low profiles projectile. So let's go ahead and record Sub-Zero real quick. Perfect. Let's turn that recording on. Let's go full screen away. Because he's active, I get full screen punish. I don't even have to spend the bar. If he's not doing that, I get full screen punish just for amplifying and a little bit more damage. At some ranges, if you're full screen, it doesn't technically make it all the way. But depending on what the opponent's doing, half the time you'll see if I do it too early, it whiffs. What's happening here is that His hurt box is extending as he does his projectile, and there are moments within it which I can clip him. But you see, there's timings to it. Now, if I let him get a little more active, all of a sudden it's a punish again. So you see, if I do it too early, won't hit, but if I time it on reaction, and if you see the Sub-Zero... Oh, I was asleep. I wasn't even looking. I wasn't even looking. Oh, he's throwing a projectile? See how much time you have? And if you do it early, the way it whiffs, the Amplify will get it full screen. It also gives it a hit of armor. So let's do something a little different here. You'll get through it. Now, there are ways that people can bait you. Sub-Zero, for example, can do a little something like... It's going to be hard to kind of... How would I time this? Let me see. I'm trying to think. Let me set him to not block. Because I actually need the timing now. Okay. Stuff like this can happen to you. And so you want to be mindful of this. There we go. Okay. And that can get you out of it. I'm going to try to do it more consistently now. I think I just mistimed it. Yeah. Smokes me every time. He gets conversions off of that if he wants. I got baited. So it won't get you out of everything, but it'll get you out of most things. I mean, you saw how tight my timing had to be, or else I just armored through it every time. And yeah, invisibility sucks. Let's talk about his use with cameos. And one of the first examples I have here is Sector. It's one of the ones you'll see with him the most because they have great synergy. One thing that Sector can do is in situations like this, if you get a confirm, his ambush missile attack, which for some reason they don't want to come out there, can cover gaps to protect me. As you see, it hit him in the middle of that. If he was to block on wake up, which I'll have to set up. And then I'm going to go over here real quick and set him to block. I then can run in and I'm kind of covered by the missile. It protects me. That's its main use, right? Do something to them. Force them to hold missile. Right? If you time it perfect, you'll get gaps like this where it hits them and they can't really press back and you get to keep pressuring them. Sector also gives you a great restand in some situations. I like this for corner situations where you get a hit. Let me find... What am I trying to do? Take them off of block. Cool. Put us in the corner. Cool. This is what I want. All right. Do things like take them off of block. You get restands. You are plus 19 in situations like this, which means you can do things like... Sorry. Get a full restand, you're plus 18, and you still did a decent amount of damage. Actually, missed how much damage it did, I wasn't looking. But it's great for that. But you're mostly going to be using the ambush missile. And if you want to just mess with people, getting launches like that is always fun. Doing acid bubble, and then hitting them with a random one of these. And then if you're like any tad bit closer, getting pickups. Oh my god. Oh my god, come on. Get pickups from there. That's pretty good damage. You want to keep in mind that if you use Sector in the middle of combos like that, he scales. But his main utility here is going to be covering things with missile. So I would have been fine if he would have blocked. And because he didn't, I get a big thing. Or he took extra chip. Ideally, I was fine regardless, right? Let's take a look at some other cameos that I honestly think are better the more that I've been experimenting. I've been liking Sector less for him, right? We'll talk about Motaro real quick. So there are utilities with characters like Motaro where we could get knocked down because we're so plus. Sorry, hold on. Drop my combo. It's fine. And then we kind of get to close that gap in pressure regardless. It kind of creates a little bit of a vortex situation if they're not ready. Motaro is also the only cameo that lets you combo. Sorry. I'm not used to doing this. Off of your acid spit, which can be helpful. 370 conversion there back into more pressure. He can be really solid for that. Obviously, he comes with his projectile shield, but one of his main synergies with Reptile is the fact that he's the only cameo that I think Reptile players have found that lets you combo off of acid spit if you get used to the conversion, and that's cool. If you wanted to run Reptile with somebody like Scorpion. Scorpion is one of the other characters that gives you, as mentioned before, safer conversions into your invisibility setups by doing something as simple as this. Sorry, it's a little hard to time it. And allowing you, if you take actually a half step away, which is better, let me do it again. You're now mostly invisible by the time they get up, and it's a bit of a guessing game for them as to what you're doing. Invisibility still isn't the strongest thing in the world, but this is one of your better ways to access it. These conversions in the corner are also really strong. Just using Scorpion in general to get conversions that kind of like protect you. The main one I know is this one. It's the one that I would be doing if I was you guys. If not, it gives you like little reset situations if you don't want to bother with the invisibility, but it's one of your safer accesses into them. Now, my personal favorite recently has been Kung Lao. Now, what I like about Kung Lao so much is that he gives you actual mix off of your Okizeme. So we can do something like this. Hold Lao, we're so plus, we can reset the situation, and you would be surprised how many people get hit with this. You can also stop, and you're relatively still safe in plus, which is what I like about it, is that it turns it into true mix. So now let's say our opponent gets frustrated and wanted to do something like enhance Ice Slide, right? Sub-Zero's armor to wake up, and we know it's coming. First of all, we have to set him to not block, sorry. Sorry, missed that. I don't think I had Cameo meter, actually. Oh my god, am I this bad? I put it on the wrong thing. Okay, now. You see what I'm saying? And then you get punished. So it turns into actual mix. If they do know that you're going to do it, they can get themselves out of it. Oh, not even. It still beats them out. Still stuffs them out. So you're fine. They have to generally get up and do like a down one or a stand one or delayed get up, depending on the character they're using. Some people have armored reversals that interact with it better. You don't get much of a trade off of it. But that's how good the Kung Lao one is. And then you can also, once you get mind games like this going and they're too hesitant to do reversals, you do low hat, you're +2. You also, I'm going to turn this off for a second. I'm not as good as timing this. I'm still working on getting the timing down for this. That's not the one that I want. Sorry, it's back. Yeah. You could also do something like this. Or there's a whole hard to unblockable thing with Lao that I'm still working on. But he gives you really cool stuff too, is my whole point. So basically, if you want the fundamental building blocks on how to win with Reptile, that's what they are. If you have more questions for me, let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to cover Tanya Goro next, which is a lot more interesting. And I basically, every time I make a character guide, I want to use my comment section as a character discovery guide. If you know cool things with Reptile that I have not mentioned, list them down there. If you have questions for me about stuff that I said, list them down there. If I misrepresented something in the video, we're all human and I'm tired and trying to get these out. You turn them out like butter, you tend to make mistakes. Correct me down there. I'm not above being wrong. I can take the criticism. I'd rather all of us know what's going on than hold on to this thing of like, I can never say something incorrect. This is a great character. If you want to play him, please. I think there's a lot of stuff you could experiment with in there. There's even stuff with cameos that I didn't show because I can't make a 4-hour guide on Reptile. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Next guide will be Tanya Goro specifically until I work out more cameos with her. She actually has some cool stuff with Sector too. If I don't learn it by the time it's comes up on my schedule to make that video, you'll see Tanya Goro. It's pretty stupid. You should understand how it works anyway because you're going to see it more often than you'll see Tanya Sector. I love you all. I hope you have the best afternoon. I hope you continue to enjoy Mortal Kombat 1. I've got this video, more matches coming up, etc. I'm going to go. Love you all to death. Have a great day. Play Mortal Kombat 1. Talk to you next time. Peace.